Well, hello and good morning, evening or afternoon, depending on when you are streaming this, the latest episode of Edie's SustyTalk. If you're new to the series, we launched this back in lockdown number 1 here in the UK last spring as a way to keep everyone feeling a little more connected to the sustainability and energy conversation while we're all remote. And I'm delighted to have Al on from General Motors this evening for me and morning or lunchtime for him, I think. And he is their global energy manager. So thank you so much for your time, Al.
Thank you. It's good to meet you. And yeah, looking forward to talking about water, energy. I have a lot of fun with it. Been doing it for 42 years and still enjoy it. Still really like saving energy, decarbonizing, as well as saving money.
Fantastic. And we spoke a little bit to GM recently, but never to yourself. So it'd be good to hear a little bit more about your role and remit and how that fits into the wider energy and environment team there.
Okay, good. So, as global energy manager for GM, I manage 3 of our public goals, which is energy, carbon, and water in our operations. And each major site has, kind of boots on the ground. They have a site utility manager typically with an energy conservation engineer. And then regionally, we have kind of set up support in regions, like international operations, South America. And then our team locally here kind of covers the globe and works on various initiatives, setting targets for sites to meet our public goals, and then working on fun things like energy treasure hunts, water treasure hunts, and it's just a lot of fun for me.
I can imagine. And you mentioned there obviously the sites, but do you look at like value chain or supply chain as well in what you do?
So we do, yes. We've done like life cycle analyses to determine where carbon impacts are at a part level in our auto parts, and that's kind of helped us guide us into setting sustainable material goals for 2030 to increase the amount of sustainable materials in our parts by 50% by that period of time.
Great. I find that super interesting because a lot of the time energy managers do just manage energy. So to hear that it's got that intersection with carbon and water as well is really interesting.
Yeah, and it's not only at our tier 1 suppliers, which is where I've got a purchase order with them to buy parts, but it's at typically in tiers 2 or tiers 3. So we have to really, kind of look at, is it the design of the part that makes it, kind of carbon impactful, or are there other reasons? And so working with suppliers, we get some great ideas from them. They give us, energy conservation ideas and efficiency. And so we've partnered with them. We started doing sustainability symposiums with them this year. And it's been really beneficial, actually. We learn from them and they learn from us.
I will admit that I've heard of a symposium, but not a treasure hunt, which you mentioned. So could you tell me what a treasure hunt entails?
Well, it's actually a standardized process through US EPA Energy Star. They took kind of the best practices from a number of different automakers and put it together in a standardized process. And we've been doing it for about, I think 2006 was the first one that I did. And we've done hundreds of them around the world. They're a great time to improve employee engagement, which is one of the benefits of energy treasure hunts. Typically, when we used to be able to travel to them, we would start on a Sunday afternoon when maybe there's not production in a facility. Figure out what's on that doesn't need to be on. You kind of have the plant quiet so you can hear compressed air leaks, and then we, kind of use tools. So we use, cameras and things like that to determine air leaks and just help the plant kind of identify energy savings opportunities. And typically can get, somewhere between $500,000 and $1 million a year savings opportunities that then we can, work with them to provide them either expense monies to help them, or use energy performance contracting, which is our major method of implementing energy projects and water projects too.
Mm-hmm. Great. So it sounds like there's a lot there that could be transferred here in the UK, where that's, I think, less common from the energy managers we work with. But I wanted to talk a bit about water as well, because when I was setting up this call, it was because I got emailed about GM's new water intensity targets and commitments to the CEO water mandate as well. So for those that aren't aware of the target, it is to reduce the water intensity of operations 35% by 2035, I believe.
Yes.
So I'd love to hear a little bit about the changes that need to be made to hit that target.
Sure. Yes, so water is included in our business plan along with energy and cost and safety and all those other kinds of important business factors. We use very similar methods for water management, as we do for energy, like having metrics. Good data is the first thing that you absolutely need, so you can measure where you are, so you can forecast, where you need to be to meet your targets in the future. I mentioned water treasure hunts. We've also developed virtual energy and water treasure hunts. And so with having lots of online data, we can do a treasure hunt kind of virtually. And it's a good screening process. At some point in time, you do have to have boots on the ground to go and see and find out what's going on. But we find that has really helped us continue our energy and water savings efforts. And then I mentioned we have a dedicated fund for projects that's helpful to plants. Sometimes they need just a small amount of money to get things going. And we use the true cost of water to evaluate business cases. And that's really important because in some areas of the world, water is really inexpensive. And actually, you'd think Great Lakes state like Michigan, it would be the cheapest, but it's just the reverse of that. Actually, water in Michigan is more expensive than it is in most other parts of the world, and mostly because of the wastewater treatment aspect of it and sewer charges. But when you put the total cost of water for heating water, pumping it, all those kinds of things together, then it makes the business case a little bit more palatable and better return on investment and makes it easier for us to implement.
Completely understand that. And I think you've mentioned there very well how this is a mix of behavior change and employee engagement and support on both from different levels as well.
Yes.
And I wanted to come on to the CEO water mandate piece of this as well, because we've heard from GM new climate targets, I think a few months back. Again, real good engagement with the C-suite. Here, that water mandate also lets CEOs from different companies collaborate. So for those that are maybe looking to better engage executives on sustainability topics at the moment, be that water stewardship or climate, I wondered if you had any learnings from those processes.
Yeah, I think, I mentioned measuring is important because, that's a great way to sell upper management on, hey, we need to do something here. So we've been measuring water use as well as had goals and water conservation measures since about 2000 and had some really great results. It does get more difficult as you get kind of to the bottom of that curve. You got the law of diminishing return that you can't go to zero. We'd like to go to zero, but it's just not quite feasible. But we have done some innovative things in areas of the world where we're water stressed. So we can't get enough water to make vehicles. And so things like zero liquid discharge. We have a plant in Mexico that's doesn't discharge any water. The only losses are through evaporation. We clean the water up, reuse it. And that's actually, really beneficial in helping us meet our targets. And we're doing that at other facilities as well that are water stressed.
Fantastic. Well, Al, that's all the time I have for questions today, but thank you so much for coming on to SustyTalk.
You're welcome. It's been a pleasure talking to you. Thank you.